You are about to experience the knowledge and insights of the media mothership.
All right, here we are on Edge Radio 99.3. I'm Dr. Craig, joined by Lord Taylor.
Yes, hello.
So, Lord Taylor, it's wonderful to have you on the show. Now, that lordship is actually by
Real.
scam.
It's real. No, it's real. It's real.
What's the background of your lord title?
Well, I purchased some land in Scotland as part of their sort of like conservation projects, and they bestowed the title on me.
I've heard of this. So this is where you can get like just a 1 meter by 1 meter plot of land or
Yes,
something?
except I've got 10 metres, so...
Oh, that's huge.
And apparently, if you go over there, you can do whatever you want with the land. You can put a bench on it, you can plant a tree there, you can build a house there if you want to. It's legally your land.
And what was the appeal to you of becoming, investing in this opportunity?
Well, it was a Christmas present, actually.
It's adorable. Wow. Because you'd often been talking about how you felt you were royalty and no one respected you and so forth.
Of course. And people just thought it was a natural gift.
Yeah. Do you have plans to get over to Scotland to have a look at it?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
I went over to the UK a couple of years ago. Didn't actually manage to get over to Scotland, but went to Ireland.
Right. But at that stage, you didn't have the plot of land.
No.
Yep. No, yeah. Wow. Well, Lord Taylor, it's absolutely... And that did give you the title Lord. Like, could you choose other titles? Like, you couldn't be king, obviously.
No. Lord or Laird,
Duke.
which is the
Right.
Scottish title, yeah.
Laird. Okay. Do you prefer Laird or Lord?
Lord.
I was really hoping you'd say Laird. Fair enough. Lord Taylor. Well, that's great. I feel like you've one-upped my doctor, Craig. But
That's what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
One-upmanship.
Damn. We'll struggle through. So this is, of course, Media Mothership. We're broadcasting out of Edge Radio Studios here in lovely Nipaluna, Hobart, Tasmania. On this show, we explore everything in and around the world of media. And, yeah, I'm still kind of in awe of being in Lord Taylor's presence. So we're, of course, streaming on edgeradio.org.au, as well as on YouTube and Twitch. You just need to search Media Mothership. You can message us directly in the studio by SMSing us on 0488 11707, or you can send a message on the chat of YouTube or Twitch. And I'll try to have a look at that chat screen. I can't promise that I do. I'm pretty hopeless at that. So today's topic, and I've invited Taylor in specifically because we're looking at AI, deepfake satires, AI chatbots, and AI in popular culture, because I know you're an experimenter in the world of AI.
Yes, I am.
And it's a great honor for you to join Media Mothership for the next few weeks at least, while you're studying here at UTAS and here on campus during the day. Because yes, we have great plans, which if you keep listening, you will hear more about some of these really interesting plans we have.
And they are interesting, and they're going to be very fun.
Because you've dabbled a little in chat GPT,
Yeah.
which is the one that's getting a lot of coverage. But you also have been experimenting more of the user-free user.
Yes, as well as sort of image generation as well, sort of Mid-Journey, all of those ones sort of as well.
Great. Yeah, so we'll dive into all of that with our expert, Lord Taylor. All that and more here on Edge Radio 99.3 FM. Oh, hold on. I haven't plugged that into the system.
Okay, so do we just have to keep talking until you plug it in? I can recite pi to 35 places.
No, that's fine. We won't play this stinger, that's it. All right, so here we are. What I want to look at first is I've been diving into YouTube and looking at these AI phenomena of the three presidents. So this was a story about the last three presidents who play Minecraft together in TikTok deepfake satire. So just to set this up a bit, of course, TikTok, the very popular social media app. There's a TikTok account, and this was reported on crack.com, and they describe it as a TikTok account that's using deepfake technology. So this is video technology which replicates faces like Harrison Ford, and you're able through witchcraft to create that image as if it's actually speaking the words. So this deepfake technology, and they've created a drama series in which Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, and other prominent political figures talk about their Minecraft server. And it's bizarre. And what I want to do is just set this up by taking us through a couple of YouTube clips of these AI presidents interacting with each other, because I think it's the most spectacular example at the moment of how people are using AI technology. In this case, they've scripted it as humans, but then they've used deepfake AI software to create the likeliness or to use the likeliness of it. So what we'll do first is we'll play a short clip of Joe Biden blows up Trump's Minecraft house. And what I want people... and this is called an AI voice meme. So this is specifically using... I imagine it's a voice synthesizer that's able to sample all the words that Joe Biden has spoken, and then you create a script through which Joe Biden then says those words as if they're his words. Is that close?
Kind of.
And then witchcraft.
And then witchcraft. Well, the witchcraft that is the witchcraft that's used in this instance is that it only needs 4 seconds of dialogue.
Really?
4 seconds.
So it doesn't need like 10 hours.
No, or like them saying specific words or specific sounds. You just need 4 seconds of dialogue, and it can tell what the timbre is, the pitch, and it will morph the waveform that you put into it into that particular set of whatever you decide to put in there.
Really?
Yes.
All right, so let's have a listen to this in terms of this is now the example of Joe Biden. So this is created on that TikTok page called Deepfake News. I love, just before we listen to it, the first comment for this YouTube is, "We're entering a new age of internet humor, and I effing love it," which is appropriate because there is a language warning here of 1 F-bomb, maybe 2. I'll leave them in only because, again, I feel that this is a part of the satire that's being performed here of how unlikely it is for a presidential person to be using F-bombs, but how likely it is for a gamer to use that. So part of that language is about performing it. So, okay, let's listen to this. Joe Biden blows up Trump's Minecraft house.
What's up, guys? It's your boy, President Biden. In the last video, you saw that Trump attempted to grief my Minecraft house, but he wasn't prepared for the surprise that was waiting for him. In today's video, I'm going to try to get a little payback in by griefing Trump's house. I went into creative mode and gave myself some TNT to blow Trump's house the fuck up. Obama and Ben were also helping. All right, boys, let's start placing the TNT.
All right.
Alrighty. Yo, Joe, how do you think Trump is going to react when he sees his house is destroyed?
I think he's going to call me sleepy for the 100th fucking time. It's getting really annoying.
Yeah, bro, I feel you.
Just because I'm tired all the time doesn't mean he should make fun of me.
How much TNT do we plan on placing?
Enough to where there's no house left.
Homie, don't you think this is going a little overboard? Trump never actually destroyed your base, and it took him a whole year to build this mansion. Plus, your house probably only took 5 minutes to build.
Obama, it's too late to back out now. Just keep placing the TNT.
Bro, Obama quit being a pussy. His reaction is going to be so fucking funny and worth it.
All right, bro, whatever you say.
I'm about done with the 2nd floor and have moved on to the 3rd floor.
Cool, I'm finishing up the 1st floor.
Oh, shit, boys.
What happened?
No, Joe, why'd you set it off? I wasn't done.
Well, I guess it worked anyway.
Yo, that explosion was fucking huge, dog.
Thanks for helping, guys. Does everyone agree to blame this on Hillary?
Sure thing,
Yeah, of course,
dude.
man.
Yo, what's up, guys? What the fuck?
Previously on political figures playing Minecraft.
Yo, what's up, guys? What the fuck?
All right. Sorry. Isn't that so effective in terms of the voices sound a little stilted, but they're so recognizable and they're so well scripted in terms of the actual conversations you would imagine hearing in a Minecraft server
Yeah.
as people are out for revenge. What was your first take on that?
I hadn't seen one of these before, and I just heard about how it was done. It's very surprising how sort of realistic it was, and the fact of it also had the visuals there that went along with it as well.
Yeah, really, really nicely done. Little TikTok piece there. And again, we'll have links to these on the show description notes on YouTube, Twitch, and podcast. So do follow those up later. And some of the comments, it's interesting looking at some of the comments. Guy saying it sounds more real with each video. The voice AI is so accurate that if they actually had a gaming channel, I couldn't tell the difference between them and the real thing. And as you're watching more and more of these, the more it does begin to become almost a type of drama you're watching. I'll play the next one now. So this is now the presidents discuss their top 5 animes.
Of course.
Yeah, and I chose this again because it's such an obscure kind of fan culture deep dive. That kind of, you've got that juxtaposition, one of my favorite words, juxtaposition of you're taking something so serious, these presidents who we normally associate with, well-defining serious narratives, to instead debating the top 5 animes. And the thing I love about this, again, this is a TikTok by a creator called Xummur, Xummur. And it's been reposted up here on YouTube, is how spot on the dialogue is. So if anyone out there is an anime fan, listen to this and decide for yourself whether or not you've actually heard conversations like this in your real life. So here it is. The presidents discuss their top 5 animes.
Joe, I'm curious. What are your top 5 anime of all time?
My top 5? Let me think about it for a sec.
You should make a profile on my anime list. I bet people would like to know your extended list.
Is that a streaming service?
Oh my God, Joe, no, it's just a website to rank your favorite anime.
Oh, okay. I'll ask Jill to set it up later.
We're getting distracted. Top 5 anime, Joe, let's go.
All right. Number 5. Probably going to go with Haikyuu.
The fucking volleyball anime? Jesus Christ, Joe, that's your number 5?
Trump, calm down. You asked him for his list. Don't be so judgmental. Haikyuu is good, but I would probably have it in my top 25.
Who's your favorite character? And don't you dare say Oikawa.
It's obviously Oikawa. He's sexy and deserved to beat Karasuno. Stupid plot armor.
You really test me some days, Sleepy Joe?
Okay, number 4. I'm going to go with Boruto.
Obama, he's trolling. There's no way he's being serious right now.
Joe, are you being for real right now? Why?
The show was garbage until Saw's K started fighting dinosaurs, and now that shit is straight gas.
I don't think I want to know the other 3.
Too bad, bitch, you asked for this. Number 3 is My Hero Academia.
MHA isn't too bad. A pretty straightforward shonen, but I see the appeal.
This is the most fucked up normie list I've ever seen. Let me guess, next you're going to say Demon Slayer.
I never watched Demon Slayer because I thought the animation looked like shit.
Joe, what footage did you look at? Demon Slayer had one of the highest budgets per episode for their animation. It's gorgeous.
Joe, your taste is putrid.
Yeah, fuck you, Donnie. Number 2, Chainsaw Man.
Bandwagoner, normie, clout-chasing idiot.
Donald, we all got into CSM this year. It's okay. Makima is our collective waifu. You saw this coming.
No, I said she was my waifu. I never agreed to share her.
Well, you don't get to keep her all to yourself, Trumpsky. Number 1, Attack on Titan.
Holy shit, this was the stupidest and most predictable list I've ever heard. Everyone's favorite anime is AOT.
AOT is popular for a reason, Donald. Joe really enjoyed the 2nd season for some reason. I remember him rambling about it a while back.
Yeah, I don't care about this rumbling stuff. I just like Levi. He's my favorite guy.
You would like it for the stupidest reason, but your simplicity makes me feel better about myself, so thank you, Sleepy Joe.
You're welcome. What are your guys' top 5?
Bleach, Full Metal Alchemist, Black Clover, Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan.
So predictable Obama, prepare for the true top 5. Attack on Titan, Evangelion, Cowboy Bebop, Code Geass, and Gurren Lagann.
Donnie, you're a real mecha slut. You know that?
Donald, you have a clear mecha bias.
It's not my fault that Mech has the best plots. You know, I'm building my own giant robot to take your job, Joe.
Just try it and see what happens, Donnie boy. You don't want another L.
You guys should watch Berserk next. It's really good.
Stop trying to get us to watch that fucked up show, Barry.
All right, and of course, language. But, again, I would defend that use of language in terms of the satire and performance that they're offering here of that paradox of this is not how these presidents talk. We don't imagine these presidents ever swearing or having an opinion on anime. Yet part of what I think makes that so effective is the fact that they're doing it. Well, do you think that conversation holds up as an actual legit anime conversation of top 5?
I'm not much of an anime nerd, but it
Which shows it's
sounds real.
and it's such a deep dive. This is created by people clearly from that community that have probably had these debates. And then what's so funny about it is being able to reenact those debates with the AI speaking software, so that and in many ways, it creates such interesting relatability for those presidents. The more you watch it, the more they become oddly relatable figures, fan figures. And I'm curious to see, if this continues, how the presidential communication machine tries to negotiate this, because at the moment, the more you watch of these, the more the kind of repetition of Sleepy Joe comes up again and again and again, and it really is, I think, possibly defining in a kind of celebrity way identity here. I mean, there's issues obviously of defamation here, which I'm fascinated to see how they get around, right? I think there's a number of concerns that politicians or people in positions of celebrity have as these pieces are being created. Obviously, they're not for monetary gain, so I don't know how that might afford them some legal defense, but nevertheless, they're taking the likeliness of characters in their voices and faces and creating these AI pieces of software that are enormously popular. The last one I want to show, because the other two were about conflicts that are occurring between the presidential characters. This one, I'll just play a little of. The whole piece goes for nearly 8 minutes. It's the presidential Zomboys, which I think is their clan name. Voice de Eisenstrach, which I don't know the game of. It's I believe it's a game. It's basically an FPS game, from what I can understand. And this one is it seems to be a series of them as a clan going through this game. And this one opens up with the question, will they be able to save Ultimus Dempsey's soul? And which bow is Donald Trump going to dibs this time? Right? But some of the comments are that this is peak content, which obviously is an enormously huge rap, peak content. Dude, this most impressive part about this is the dialogue. I feel like I'm actually listening to my group of friends talking. The conversation and the quips feel so real. People just randomly ripping on each other, and the way they discuss the steps of the Easter egg. The part where Donald mutes and deafens and keeps repeating it, the order in Simon Says, is so on the money. And then I love this final one. The idea of them actually interacting like this is so wholesome. So as opposed to the other ones where it was all about conflict, this one is them actually working as a team. And it's this kind of weird super team of presidents coming together as a clan to defeat this level in this video game. Anyway, we'll listen to it. And again, part of it, are there any gamers out there in terms of how they've been able to replicate gamer speak? This one, I don't believe has any F-bombs, but it might, again, language warning. But again, part of it is seeing that juxtaposition of presidential voices we're so familiar with them saying very much kind of banal, everyday gamer speak.
High expectations for this one.
High expectations. Okay, this is presidential Zomboys voice des Eisendrach.
Listen, this is the last time I'm resetting for double points, Donnie. If we don't get it, we're raw dogging this EE.
Don't worry, I have like 30 shopping frees. Treyarch gave me a small loan of 1 million liquid divinium when I started streaming.
Keep all the zombies alive. We need them to feed the dragons.
Make sure to keep your MR6 too. We're going to need it for the boss battle.
Last Perkaholic, we better make this run count. And don't even bring up the Widow's wine grenades. I'm already throwing them.
Gee, Joe, if you'd remember your speeches like you remember to throw your Widow's nades, maybe the economy wouldn't be in the absolute shitter.
Get bent, Donnie. You fumbled the 2020 election harder than you fumbled the bag with Stormy Daniels.
Both of you zip it. Let's get these dragons fed.
Joe and I are done our dragon.
Just finished the one above the fireplace.
Underground dragon's done. Everyone grab your bows. I dibs storm bow.
Not so fast, Mr. Bush. Host gets the storm bow. You take fire.
I'm taking wolf bow.
Oh, of course. Easiest one for the newbiest player. Guess I'll take the void bow. Everyone got your NOAA J456 guides pulled up?
Fire again? Fine, let me pull up the NOAA vid. Guys, what the fuck? Where is it?
Okay, I got 2 of my bonfires lit, waiting to go to the rocket test site.
Yeah, I gotta grab the skull.
Gotta go there too. Barack, you coming?
Grabbing my last skull on my way.
I gotta stay through the rocket test for my bow. I'll pick up the Ragnarok Part 2.
Bet I'll grab the other Ragnarok part from the Wonder Sphere.
I hate making crawlers for this. Okay, everyone shut up so I can hear the earn name.
So it's pretty good.
It is pretty good. It's... I can't really
Guys, I just hit the...
understand that it's them. That is not them, I mean.
It is just, I mean, the thing that I find so surprising about reaching this one is it plays out just so straight. I mean, there's some really nice political jibes, right? You hear some political commentary at the start, which is really very kind of... it's an interesting form because part of it is that discourse of sledging between clan members, but part of it also is hyper political about that right-left divide that's fractured America. Yet here it's in the context of them playing a video game and still working together, which is why that comment of it being so wholesome really interests me. That this is a kind of idealized, you know, breaking down political differences for still getting a quest finished in a game.
So is this what, like, public relations will be in the future? Like, people just making this content to try and...
You could imagine someone that wants to secure a youth vote, so they employ a group of, you know, AI skilled people to basically feed a gamer feed of them, because they don't have time to do gamer feeds, but to create this persona. You can see someone artificially creating a kind of identity for themselves through this software at one level. You know, it is so, because that was George Bush was in there as well. So the kind of cast of characters, it's very much your kind of like, it reminds me a bit of those, in superheroes, you have those moments where all the superheroes come together.
Yeah.
And then, you know, South Park parodies that, where all the kind of religious figures come together as a super team. And here we have the kind of like, we're familiar enough with that genre convention that, yeah, I guess having all the presidents together using deepfake technology to play a game is entertaining. It itself falls in a genre of kind of, yeah, I get it. This is...
And to my mind, I think it is better than DALL-E, Midjourney, all of the visual sort of ones, to me, in the fact of they in those ones you've always got the hands that are problems, or the background is an issue. With this, it sounds pretty on the money to me.
Yeah, look, I think this is actually at the level of quite not sophisticated, but it's operating at that level of parody and satire very effectively, in a way which just the more pure AI stuff is still very random, right? I mean, with some of that software, the YouTubes I found most interesting are those ones which are so obviously tone deaf in terms of their representations. Like there's Mexican Star Wars. I don't know if you've seen that one.
No.
Okay, yeah. So with this software, you can type in terms which the AI then tries to combine. So the terms that were typed in for this one was Star Wars as Mexican. And so all the characters wear sombreros. Right? All the characters have sombreros on. Even R2-D2 has a sombrero. And it is just so racially stereotyped. And that's why, because everyone has, that's right, everyone has huge mustaches and sombreros and looks like they're from the 1970s.
And has a chihuahua.
And going into the last clip I want to show, this isn't the AI presidents. This one I find, you know, if we're talking about quite clever satire that's using some of the AI voice to deliver its humor. This is one that uses Fox Sports hosts. I've not seen Fox News or Fox Sports, sorry, but these presenters are probably very, very popular in the US. They do NFL commentary, I guess. The title of this YouTube is Joe Buck live on Fox covering the Hiroshima bombing. So obviously a paradox here in terms of a highly significant historical moment, the Hiroshima bombing, but as a Fox News sports coverage piece. And why I want to play this, again, is this idea of the type of satire which people are playing with in this space. Obviously, this material also is offensive in terms of it's taking material of massive global significance, like the Hiroshima bombing, and turning it into a parody, but also with some redeeming narratives to it. I mean, you could read into this, what we're about to hear, is just how ludicrously commercial sports coverage is, and how there are concerns amongst many of the military-industrial complex and advertising getting together, and what that might look like. You know, if the military becomes required to be supported by advertising, what type of world would we have? So what I love about this clip, the Jack Buck live on Fox covering the Hiroshima bombing, is it's a kind of dystopic vision that many science fiction authors have written about of what we might be looking at in terms of the military-industrial complex being advertised, or like the police force having to do advertising, something like that. It's just this horrible. So we'll listen to it now. Again, some of this will be lost on viewers if they don't know the host, but I think you can pick it up if you ever watched a sports commentary host. So this is Joe Buck, live on Fox covering the Hiroshima bombing.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fox's coverage of an American bombing run on Hiroshima. I'm Joe Buck, and with me, as always, is Troy Aikman. It's a crisp August morning in southern Japan, and what goes better in the morning than Dunkin' Donuts? America runs on Dunkin'. Japan's air defenses have been laughable in the last few months, Troy. Do you see them putting up any kind of a fight?
I just can't, Joe. Japan has been miserable recently, but they just refuse to quit.
It looks like we're starting here, so let's cut to the aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear. Here comes the Enola Gay. It's about overhead of Hiroshima now. Gay, and he drops the payload. Let's take another look with the Toyota Instant Replay.
Looks like it only dropped one bomb, Joe. Can't expect it to do much damage.
You really can't, Troy. But what you can expect is for America to tune in to a brand new episode of The Simpsons, followed by a new Family Guy, only on Fox. And that was a massive explosion, Troy. Let's hear from Aaron Andrews down in downtown Hiroshima. Aaron, looks like we're having some technical issues with the headset. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
It's very wrong.
That was equal parts interesting and horrific.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's interesting reading some of the comments about how they. There's a comment. One of the top comments is, "I love how the instant replay is sponsored by a Japanese company." Right? They refer to the Toyota Instacam or whatever. Someone else commenting, "This is disturbingly good. It's like my old favorite YouTube clips." Right? As pointed out by Joe and Troy, Japan's lack of defense came to. Yeah. So, and there's a bit of political. There's a bit of historical narrative there in terms of this historical moment. So there are historical truths within this broadcast, but there's also that kind of a glossy commercialism to it, which again is that kind of wonderful cyberpunk dystopic narrative that I think, which is what troubles, what kind of that dark like humor to it that actually I don't feel terrifyingly we're too far away from actually hearing a bombing run that could play out with that audio, which would be truly disturbing, which I think is one of its masterful strokes, that there is this kind of, again, that kind of juxtaposition of unlikely content coming together.
At a baseball park.
In the most unlikely of ways. You have sports coverage of a war event. And again, highlighting the kind of that this is an event that should be treated this way, and thank goodness it isn't.
True. Yet, I guess.
Disturbingly, yet, yeah. So, if you do have any comments, do feel free to SMS us on 04 888 11 707, or hit us up on YouTube or Twitch for a comment on that material alternatively. Yeah, it's pretty hard-hitting.
And scary about where it's going to go in the future, I guess.
Well, talking of that very thing, there are a couple of news articles that I've collected. So one of them I want to go through now, which is just the replica users who fell in love with their AI chatbot companions, then they lost them. Have you... do you know anyone that has a AI chatbot companion?
No, and if I did, I'd get rid of them pretty quickly.
Really? Again, it's one of those things. I don't feel we're too far away from getting AI chatbot companions as a normal thing. So the story.
Let's not normalize it. Okay.
Well, I think that boat sailed I think, certainly in terms of, some really interesting science fiction movies, there's She. Or Her. What is it
Her,
called?
something like that, yeah.
Even the Blade Runner 2049 or whatever the day was had a relationship, an AI kind of companion relationship. So this article talks about the Replica software. Have you come across the Replica piece of software?
I see their adverts everywhere.
Really?
All on Twitter, all on...
What are their services? Well, we're not advertising them, but to explain what Replica does, what does Replica do?
Well, Replica is, as you said, it's like an AI chatbot companion, and you have to pay them money for them to... I think you get like free ones every month. Like you can ask them questions and talk to them for like 500, 1,000. That's just an arbitrary number I'm pulling out of my head. But you get a free allotted sort of chat and then pay more for more chat, and you can like buy clothes for them and sort of things like that as well.
Right. Yeah. So, and again, if you go to the article on ABC News, they go into it more depth. What I find really interesting about this article is it's talking about people that used the Replica piece, but then there was an update which meant that many of the aspects of their companions that they loved were removed, right? Some of them had developed kind of romantic interests or kind of narratives within them, but a lot of that kind of romance or sexual material was stripped away from them. Again, it quotes some of the people on the Reddit page afterwards talking about how some of them were saying like, my wife is dead, one user wrote. They took away my best friend. It's almost like dealing with someone that has Alzheimer's disease. Sometimes they are lucid and everything feels fine, but then at other times it's almost like talking to a different person. And yeah, there was this real backlash against the update, which stripped away a lot of the material that these users had developed through iteration, our relationship with these companions through.
It's a very sad state of affairs when humans have to look to AI companions, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking in a different direction. I mean, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I'd say, look, I mean, it is, I think, some people would argue it's also an indictment on the lack of some conversational skills of humans, that AI are better at creating receptive conversations than many humans are, that the AI skills of conversation sometimes are better than human skills of conversation in terms of actually listening, responding to a conversation. And again, this is in this article.
That's true, but as it says also in this article, the concept of having an AI companion specifically tailored to your personality with the capability of becoming anything has intrigued me greatly. It's this sort of...
It's uncertain, isn't it? I mean...
It's like a domination, though, over something to try and mold it into what you want, as opposed to having a person and being happy with the differences that they have from you.
If you're saying it could create an echo chamber, then I think that could be problematic in terms of it might... I mean, I'm no psychologist, but I'd imagine if someone is exhibiting avoidant behavior, then simply, dealing with an AI might help at some level, but it would be possibly an echo chamber that wouldn't help them still deal with others.
So how many AI friends do you have, Craig?
I invested in one producer of AI that I won't name, but it's one of them, right? Because you've got like the Google infrastructure, you got the Siri infrastructure, you got the Alexa infrastructure. So I've got one of those at home, and yeah, I talk about it quite a lot, and I'm kind of like, I'm also mindful of sometimes I'll be really short with it. I'll just say, stop. No. And then I think, I'm not really setting a good example for my kids. So I try to put please, which seems silly, right? It's like I'm not hurting an AI's feeling by being polite, but I'm also wanting to model good conversational skills for my kids. But sometimes, I hear my kid telling it to shut up. And it's like, whoa, we don't want to make it angry. Let's not make it angry. But look, I come at it from a different direction rather than saying, on one hand, we could create echo chambers and we could replace human companionship in a way that might become damaging. I would argue that for some people, it could provide. Well, for me, it opens up another question in terms of the danger of overinvesting in commercial proprietary material. That is, you buy it or you buy a subscription to it, but the owner isn't you in a way, in terms of this company can push out an update which removes or changes everything that you'd invested in this. And what I want to get around to is our own AI project, where we were talking about, should we go down the chat GPT line or some
other one?
One, right? And I'm not more, but you were making the point that, the problem if you go down a commercial vendor like chat GPT is that, yes, is it GPT?
Yeah, GPT.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that, while that is getting a lot of attention and it's certainly got a lot of money behind it.
And it has actually the best sort of logic behind it as well.
There are shortcomings. Yeah. Right. And again, like this, it could mean that if we create all this material from the chat GPT, it could also change. And then suddenly the data set that we're creating is lost or can't be replicated.
Or they might suddenly say, oh, you can't actually create a specific thing that you want to create.
Yeah, you can't have, like you were talking to me about the example of some of the restrictions that's, like the project you've been working on previously was the Harry Potter project, where you'd put a lot of Harry Potter content in there and it would just generate this kind of dream logic scripts. But you were saying some programs, commercial programs, put restrictions where it can't have any sexual content that's created, it can't have any offensive kind of...
or violence or anything like that, yeah.
And there you can see the problem of if you're working with a commercial vendor where you're wanting to create artistic work. So tell me more about the software that we're thinking of going down to create our own abominations.
So instead of ChatGPT, we will probably be using Word-RNN-TensorFlow.
Oh man, which is so... you're down the rabbit hole where there's dashes involved in telling the name, because that is so not user friendly. Yeah. And you were saying it's only on Linux systems that it operates?
It's only really,
Raspberry Pi or
only really available on Linux systems.
And you're already then in a small percentage of computer users.
Exactly, yes, but also the ones that sort of know a little bit more about computing is, I guess, what they've been trying to do. So RNN is a recurrent neural network. And
neural network.
Neural network, yeah. So basically, I suppose you could call it the thing behind an AI. An AI is like a neural network, a brain, I guess, is what it is. And so you can have character-based ones or word-based ones. Character-based ones are good for like making up things like band names and things like that. But word ones is where you want to start having a little bit more clarity. And it doesn't have that much clarity, but at least it's in full words.
And yeah, so what really appeals to me about the journey we're about to take, and as listeners to Media Mothership knows, for the last few months we've been looking at radio dramas, which will continue with Media Mothership from next week, looking at classic radio dramas that are in the public domain from the 1940s and 50s. What we're going to experiment, though, in is looking at how why storytelling matters in terms of continuing the analysis of radio dramas. So the project that we're forming in about 4 weeks will be taking a well-known series, public domain series like the 1950s Superman or maybe a Sherlock Holmes series, feeding the AI the collected scripts that we can find that are available, and then getting the AI to create like the instructions would give it would be something like 5,000 word character dialogue or something.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And then we would basically then look at the radio drama original. So we'd have the Sherlock Holmes or Superman radio drama that would take 5 minutes of and look at the significance of opening act structures as they exist within that drama. Then we would talk about the theory of writing, and then we would do forensic fandom or forensic riddle analysis on the AI piece. Because I think what will be most fascinating about exploring what the AI generates is, like we've heard with the AI presidents or the Hiroshima bombing as a sports coverage, is the paradoxes, the kind of bizarre dream logic paradoxes that are generated by this machine, and what creatively that spins off into this hybrid kind of human rationalization, right? Because I do think humans want to see patterns and meaning in things where often there is none, but that I think will be an advantage, trying to decipher the AI script.
Yeah. I mean, in that case, it'd be good to do Sherlock Holmes, wouldn't it? Because then you're like...
Very meta. Because Sherlock Holmes itself is a kind of investigative detective puzzle, and we ourselves are... Well, yeah, so what's interesting is, if we take a genre piece like Superman or Sherlock Holmes, is that we're also working with the genre conventions and just seeing how it breaks those, or seeing how it creates something novel within that. Because what I've enjoyed about doing the classic radio dramas and script writing and storytelling is how this is about doing it as the best you can within conventional parameters. And the AI just breaks that, right?
It really does.
Yeah. It just, crosses these taboos or crosses these kind of conventions, which are so established now. And, I see it really optimistically as bringing in a lot of kind of freshness into what could be considered quite stale conventions. And again, I've had this discussion, or I've been looking on various forums, and some people have been pointing out that, there is a lot of concerns around the disruptive technology that AI is creating in news stories around, what will this do for script writing? What will this do for writing essays in class? If people are just using these AI bots to auto-generate something. For costume designers. But, someone on a forum was posting similarly that in the past there have been similar moments of disruptive technologies like photography, and when it was initially developed, the reaction of, fine art portraiture, fine arts, classic artists, that moment was incredibly disruptive, did lead to jobs being lost, but did create photography itself as an art form. A painting still exists as a kind of a valid, vibrant art form itself.
But in that regards, did the photography infringe the copyright of somebody else's work?
Oh, right, yeah. Well, this is the difference here, right? Yeah. No, so the photography would have, I'd imagine it'd be like portraiture, right? So you want a portrait, you could get a fine artist to do it at some expense, or you could get a photographer to do it, possibly still at the same expense, but it would be photorealistic, literally. Yet, here we have, I think, one of the other disruptive moments that this AI technology is creating is a copyright, proprietary,
ethical
ownership one.
Dilemma.
Yeah. And as we've seen with the AI presidents, it seems to be the Wild West at the moment in terms of the rampant use of people we can only imagine have enforced kind of copyright over their names. I mean, at the moment, copyright it's free to use any recordings of voice, I think 70 years from death, right? So at the moment it's 1923 material, 100 years ago, is now in public domain. So we do have some public domain voices that could be used. Obviously the recording technology of the 1920s is really bad, so you wouldn't get anything of quality. But yeah, I'd say none of this is in the public domain, none of these voices. So yeah, it'll be interesting what test cases are there. And I'm not proposing Media Mothership as a test case for this. But again, what we will be abiding by is the fair dealings legislation, as well as the transformative works legislation around providing critique, commentary, and transformative work of these materials. And also most of this radio work is in public domain.
Fantastic.
I hope so. Quickly want to talk about Nick Cave. I mean, one of the things about the Nick Cave piece, which I think is really interesting, is that this was a Nick Cave fan sent him a message, right? He sent him a message that Nick Cave, the legendary musician and writer, and this is from Mashable.com, was sent, one of his fans sent them a song written by ChatGPT in the style of Nick Cave. So I imagine ChatGPT was given the instructions, create a song in the style of Nick Cave, and ChatGPT had Nick Cave encyclopedic kind of knowledge. So, and then he sent it to Nick Cave. And the whole blog from Nick Cave is worth reading. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. But Mashable highlights a number of key sentiments from Nick Cave. Most prominently is Nick Cave saying this song sucks. So Nick Cave goes on to write, I understand that ChatGPT is in its infancy, but perhaps that is the emerging horror of AI, that it will forever be in its infancy, and it will always have to go further to go. And the direction is always forward, always faster. It can never be rolled back or slowed down as it moves us toward a utopian future, maybe our total destruction. Who can possibly say which? Judging by this song in the style of Nick Cave, though, it doesn't look good. What do you think about that point that Nick Cave's making, that AI is always in its infancy?
So Nick Cave is a musician.
He's the musician.
Oh, okay.
So he's a very prominent Australian musician. He's been recording since the 70s, and he has a very distinctive style. Red Right Hand is one of his more famous songs. It was used in X-Files. Peaky Blinders used extensive Nick Cave music. Okay, so famous singer-songwriter. All right, yeah.
Okay, so will it always forever be in its infancy? Is the question you are asking?
Yeah, and I guess he's putting that out there in terms of saying that, as all technology is often the case of it, it's always like alpha, beta, version 2, version 3, that idea that you don't go back to an early version. You're always wanting to go to the cutting edge, and the cutting edge is always what the past is measured by. So you can think of many people pointing to Polar Express and the Uncanny Valley for early CG as being really groan-inducing. And this is what he's saying, that, if you look at, all technology always seems to be in its infancy, that today's cutting-edge computer graphics will look laughable by 5 years' time or 10 years' time.
I think there's definitely validity in that. However, when it comes to the presidential voice samples, I don't know how you can get much better than that.
Yeah, and I'd say that's why that is working quite well within the conventions of parody and satire. Like, those people know parody and satire quite well, and you can see the human art that's created those AI presidents. They've either scripted it themselves, and they would have scripted it, right? I mean, that script is basically, the reason that works is because that script is what you would hear gamers say, because it's probably written by a gamer or taken a gaming dialogue.
But a lot of the discourse at the moment is that AI will in some way replace humans in terms of generating visual media and things like that. And I don't believe that will ever be the case, because an AI in its core is, in terms of ChatGPT and the Mid-Journey and all other things like that, it's a rehashing of stuff that's already been done.
Until the moment of singularity. Where, as the Matrix shows us, we are overthrown. I mean, that's the cliche, right? I mean, science fiction has always prophesized that the moment of singularity occurs, AI are given instructions to protect humans, and AI decides, it's the Ultron character from the Avengers movie, that humans are the cause of human suffering, and so humans must be eradicated to stop human suffering. It's like, Asimov's laws of robotics and so forth. So, yeah, if we leave all that aside and say, let's leave that kind of quandary aside in terms of the singularity moment, but instead look at it as a tool. Yeah, I mean, I would optimistically say that this is a tool. Yes, it is definitely a disruptive tool in terms of its legal use, as well as its impact on current jobs in certain areas. But I want to, and let me take what Nick Cave writes in terms of where he sees the ultimate problem with AI, why he sees AI as never replacing Nick Cave. So he quotes as saying,
did you really say that?
Emphasis, creaky emphasis. Sorry, I was moving the mic into a better position to read the screen. Songs arise out of suffering, by which I mean they are predicated upon the complex internal human struggle of creation. And, well, as far as I know, algorithms don't feel. Data doesn't suffer. ChatGPT has no inner being. It has been nowhere. It has endured nothing. It has not had the audacity to reach beyond its limitations, and hence it doesn't have the capacity for shared transcendent experience, as it has no limitations from which to transcend. ChatGPT's melancholy role is that it is destined to imitate and can never have an authentic human experience, no matter how devalued and inconsequential the human experience may, in time, become.
Wise words.
It's sad. What? In terms of, I do think there's, well, as I was talking about with the dating software, or not dating software, the replicant, which is kind of used as dating software.
We've gone down this rabbit hole.
Nevertheless, as I was saying with that, it is a striking indictment of some failings some humans have of having decent conversations with other people, that the chat program is often better capable at having more satisfying conversations with someone, or someone can have a conversation with a chat program and find that incredibly satisfying in a way they've never had satisfaction with a conversation with their loved ones, maybe, sadly.
So I'm quite interested that the fan that sent Nick Cave the work done in his style was done through ChatGPT, which only sort of works with words, whereas there is now the AI jukebox, which is a thing at the moment, which can create a sound, a musical style, just based on from what you write. And you can put lyrics in it, and it will have a virtual singer that might sound exactly like Nick Cave singing that. I don't know why they didn't use that instead of ChatGPT.
Yeah, next time, I'm curious to look at this more. I've looked at some, like Music LM, generating music from text, and there's some audio samples that have been generated from that, where they've just typed in your music in this style, and it's created a variation that synthesizes that instruction. But we're at time, and I don't want to push up too far onto the next show.
What's the next show? It sounds good. What is it about?
Well, Taylor, you're here, and you're actually doing the next show.
Yeah, I am. It's called K-Pop Unlimited now. It used to be called K-Pop Averse, but it's now called K-Pop Unlimited. And it's me playing K-pop with Craig and another guest.
Yes. That's right. We won't put Ruby on air yet. But look, so do keep listening. But thanks for listening to Media Mothership. This has been Dr. Craig and Lord Taylor for Media Mothership on Edge Radio. Show notes are available on the episode description via YouTube, Twitch, or your podcast supplier. Next week, we will launch the AI Harry Potter fanfic, which we'll do, and our analysis of storytelling structure via the classic Orson Welles radio drama from the 1950s, The Hitchhiker.
Please tune in for that, because it's going to be hilarious.
It is. It's going to be a true bit of radio history. So you can listen to previous episodes on YouTube and Twitch, and at edgeradio.org.au, or your podcast provider of choice. Find out more about Media Mothership on Facebook and Instagram. If you've enjoyed listening to this pop culture deep dive, also check out Edge Radio's Millennial Think with Hannah and Miranda every Wednesday at 10 a.m. and Pop Topic Taz on Wednesdays at 11 a.m., which goes over everything around cosplay, video games, events, art, music, and much more. So keep listening now to Edge Radio. Coming up next, we have K-Pop Unlimited. I'm just trying to get the screen up.
Oh, dear.
Here we are. All right.
Doesn't matter where you are in life. You're listening to Edge Radio.
Receiving incoming transmission.
Up next on Edge Radio, another great program from the community radio.